What Donald Trump is teaching Harvard, the battle for academic freedom explained. What can we learn from Donald Trump's influence on one of the most prestigious universities in the world? It's a question that might raise eyebrows, but the reality is that Harvard University is now finding itself in a unique position to study negotiation tactics, and the lessons being drawn are as relevant as they are controversial. At Harvard, students have the opportunity to delve into the art of negotiation through a dedicated academic program. The core principles of this discipline are straightforward. Grasp your alternatives. What are the consequences of choosing to confront rather than to compromise? And keep your long-term goals in sight. In the context of today's political landscape, particularly under the influence of Donald Trump, Harvard has become a living case study in these negotiation strategies. This situation is particularly intriguing because it highlights how the dynamics of power and negotiation have evolved in recent years. For instance, Trump's approach to politics often emphasizes a confrontational style, which can lead to significant shifts in how negotiations are perceived and executed. This is not just about political maneuvering. It's about understanding the broader implications of these tactics on institutions like Harvard, which prides itself on fostering critical thinking and dialogue. As we explore this topic further, it's essential to consider how these negotiation strategies can be applied beyond the political arena. For example, in business, leaders often face similar dilemmas when deciding whether to engage in conflict or seek a compromise. The lessons learned from Trump's tenure could provide valuable insights for future leaders navigating complex negotiations in various fields. But here's where it gets controversial. Some may argue that adopting a confrontational approach, as seen in Trump's dealings, could undermine the very principles of diplomacy and collaboration that institutions like Harvard strive to uphold. Is it possible that the lessons being drawn from Trump's style could lead to a more divisive and less cooperative environment in the long run? As we reflect on these questions, we invite you to share your thoughts. Do you believe that the negotiation tactics being studied at Harvard, influenced by Trump's approach, will ultimately benefit or harm future leaders? Let's discuss in the comments below. Harvard president denies $500 million deal with Trump administration. Imagine a world where one of the most prestigious universities in the United States is forced to pay a whopping $500 million to the government just to continue receiving federal research funding. This is the shocking reality that Harvard University has been facing in its ongoing dispute with the Trump administration. But here's the latest update. Harvard President Alan M. Garber, 76, has categorically denied that the university is considering such a massive settlement, calling the suggestion false and claiming that the figure was leaked to the press by White House officials. So, what's really going on behind the scenes? Let's dive into the details. The university has been engaged in a bitter dispute with the Trump administration over the past year, with the government freezing billions of dollars in federal research funding. In recent weeks, several of Harvard's peer institutions, including Columbia University, have reached settlements with the government, with some agreeing to pay hefty sums of money. But Garber has made it clear that Harvard is not willing to compromise on its academic freedom, and is instead considering resolving the dispute through the courts. This is a bold move, especially given the fact that the Trump administration has been pushing hard for concessions from Harvard. The government has already reached settlements with several other universities, including Columbia, which paid over $200 million, and Brown University, which agreed to adopt the Trump administration's definition of male and female. But Harvard is taking a different approach, with Garber emphasizing that the university will not agree to any deal that threatens its academic freedom. But here's where it gets controversial. Some critics have accused the Trump administration of using extortion tactics to force universities into agreeing to costly settlements. Others have raised concerns about the impact of these settlements on academic freedom and independence. For example, Columbia's agreement with the White House included a provision that allowed for an independent monitor to oversee the university's compliance with the deal's terms. This has sparked fears that universities are being forced to cede control to external authorities, undermining their ability to make independent decisions. And this is the part most people miss. The dispute between Harvard and the Trump administration is not just about money. It's about the fundamental principles of academic freedom and independence. Harvard officials have consistently maintained that they will not agree to any deal that compromises these principles. But it remains unclear exactly what this means in practice. As the situation continues to unfold, one thing is clear: the stakes are high, and the outcome will have far-reaching implications for the future of higher education in the United States. Will Harvard succeed in its legal battles, or will it be forced to compromise on its academic freedom? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: this is a story that will continue to unfold in the coming weeks and months, and it's essential to stay informed. So what do you think? Should Harvard compromise on its academic freedom to avoid a costly settlement, or should it stand firm and risk losing federal funding? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more about this developing story, be sure to follow us for updates. In the meantime, let's consider the broader implications of this dispute. What does it say about the state of higher education in the United States? And the role of government in shaping academic policy. How will this dispute impact the future of research and innovation at universities like Harvard? These are just some of the questions that we'll be exploring in the coming weeks and months. Stay tuned for more analysis and commentary on this developing story.